X grew up on late-night warnings.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Scared, straight.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
And were inspired by movies that defined a generation.
I mean, we're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it, that's all.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I feel the need for speed.
We found our attitude in comedy.
I'm Gumby, damn it.
You see that sign? No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
And our identity in pop culture.
I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
What you talking about, Willis?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
This is Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
All right, episode 39 of the Gen X Men podcast. Welcome in, everyone. Bill Rowland here, Gary Dollar right there. It's a pleasure to have everybody in. It is the invasion, Gary. It is World Cup mania. Everybody around here is going nuts, either for that or the algae-filled reflecting pool. That's all that I see anybody talking about. You go to the store, you go to a restaurant, everybody's either like, hey, the World Cup is here, or look what happened. There's nothing but algae in the reflecting pool. It's one of the two things. So that's where we are.
I can tell you up here in the Northeast, it's about the World Cup because we had some games here in Boston, and what quite the story with the Scottish Tartan Army in here taking over and outdrinking everyone apparently that they've never seen before in Boston. So Boston's going to have to work on its reputation without them.
Pretty amazing. I saw them. I was watching the Red Sox game, and I saw them. They were all there in Fenway taking their pictures with all their kilts on and everything else. And I was like, that's pretty cool. It's like good for them taking in a baseball game. And then I did see what you saw is I guess they just went into downtown Boston, and it was just they just took it over.
Yeah, I mean it's been the big story. They like an invading army, right? We're here. We're going to show up, and what do people from Scotland do? They like to drink
and fight.
Drink and fight. At least the fights were kept under control because I guess they were all having such a good time here in the States that, they went in, and I think reports said that Samuel Adams had to do emergency deliveries from the brewery to their tap rooms. Like literally, they said it was 4 times the normal consumption rate for a holiday weekend. And then there were stories of bars that they sold out, and they were trying to get through their distributors, and liquor stores were just getting pummeled left and right.
That's awesome.
I think one of them said that it was even their bar did triple St. Patrick's Day.
Jeez, that's huge because St. Patrick's Day in Boston.
It's big,
huge holiday.
So like I said, it's been quite the story of, geez, these people came in and drank anything and everything we had, all in the name of coming to watch soccer. But then I know friends of mine who went down to partake in some of this just to be in the mix. They were talking about how, a lot for some of these spectators, it's their first time in the States.
Oh,
and they've not seen anything like this before in terms of, I know one of the big thing was free refills on drinks. And I'm not talking about alcohol,
right?
But going to a restaurant,
right?
They order a large drink, 16 ounces overseas. That's what you get. And the thought that, wait a second, I can pay $3.39 and you're going to keep filling this cup up as long as I drink it full of Coke, tea, whatever, was just blowing their minds.
Yeah, it's been cool to watch. There's a guy on X. And I will say this warning because he even put it out there. He's not on like TikTok or Instagram. He made an Instagram because he was seeing a lot of fake accounts that was using his name. He even said he's only on X because it's him and I think a couple other buddies. They're from Germany. It's on X. You can go and see it. His name is Freddie, LA7. Freddie LA7. He's been a fascinating follow during all this because they said they just came here and they're like just driving through the U.S. Like they were on. They watched the game in Atlanta, and I don't know where they flew into, but they drove through like Chattanooga and went up to like the little lookout area in Chattanooga, and they're like, "That's just unbelievable," because they're on top of the mountain. The railroad tracks are going through. And he joked and said, "Yeah, one of the Americans that are here with us was like, this is a great sniper spot." And I was like, and then he shows the picture of like you're looking down the tracks, and like I immediately went, "Yeah, that is a pretty good sniper spot, actually." I mean, you got if you're trying to hit somebody on the train, you've pretty much got them right in that tunnel. They can't go anywhere. It's perfect. He went to Atlanta and was looking at all that stuff, and then everybody kind of picked up on it because again, he was so enamored with how huge the U.S. is. And, of course, they went to a Buc-ee's. You know how that works out. And they went to a Target. And they went to all these other places. So by the time he got to Houston to watch a game there in Houston, like J.J. Watt set him and his buddies up in a hotel, like this really nice hotel. They've had other people, like they went to a restaurant, which they went to a Texas Roadhouse, which I mean, could have done something better than that. But anyway, another restaurant saw his, thing on X. I was like, "Hey, this is where we're going to eat tonight," in the Texas Roadhouse. Which again, somebody should have been like, "Hey, man, like, I know it says Texas in the name, and no offense to Texas Roadhouse, but I'm guessing you could get better steaks in Texas than a Texas Roadhouse." And again, we have a Texas Roadhouse right down the street. I love it. But if I'm going to Texas, I'm not going to the restaurant with the name of the state in the name.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
With a little wooden shack out on the side of the highway somewhere.
With smoke coming out of it. Then it's good. But another restaurant brought him a gift bag and just was like, "I know you're a Texas steakhouse, but here you go. Here's from our local restaurant." And it had a bunch of swag in it. So he's got pictures of that. I mean, they've just gone everywhere. Then he's in Houston. NASA people got a hold of him. He goes and gets a tour of NASA. And while he's on his tour, they're taking pictures of, all the different things, the Orion capsule that just got back from the moon and all this other stuff. They're like, "Hey, come on over here. Why don't we call the International Space Station?"
While you're here.
He's got a whole video of him like, "I didn't know you could FaceTime with a space station." He's like holding up his phone. It's incredible. But it's so cool to follow along. And I've seen some other ones on like Threads and some people on Instagram and this guy on X. Because what did everybody say for the most part about this World Cup? That's all you've heard leading up to it is it's going to be a disaster. Everybody hates us. Nobody in the world wants it here. It's all this. It's all people that are whining that don't like the U.S. anyway. Look, you can think what you want about the government that's in place right now. Guess what? They're gone in 2 years, right? The next election is in 2028. So it doesn't matter because they're not sticking around. We're not one of these places like Iran, who's had the same people in charge for decades. That doesn't happen here, right? Exactly. But you know what I mean. The same type of people in charge for decades. So all the people here in the U.S. are like, "This is going to be a disaster. Why would you even come here?" But and then the Euros show up.
They love it.
Scottish, the Germans, the French, whoever it is. And they're like, "This place is amazing."
Yes.
They're thrilled.
One of the interviews that they had here on our local station here in Maine with, of course they sent people down to Boston. And what this one Scottish gentleman said, he goes, "Everything's a spectacle."
Yeah.
That was his quote. And I was like, you know what? It's right. Because, it's been a while since I was in Europe, but everything's kind of, they are modern, but it's not, when you step back and go and you hear it that way, it's a spectacle. I get what he's saying. They don't have the Home Depots and the Walmarts where you just walk in and there's everything. Costco's, right? Or Food 20. They just operate very differently than we do. And so when he said that, it kind of struck home like, that is kind of the American way. We are spectacles, right?
Yeah.
We just make everything a spectacle.
Yes. Bigger, better than everything else. However you want to do it. I mean, there are tons of videos of the European fans coming here and going, this is a gas station and it's a Buc-ee's. And you're like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what we do. We do that.
120 pumps.
Yeah.
We do
You
that.
got, well, not only that, but you've got brisket inside. Like, you're at a gas station. I know everyone makes a joke about don't eat gas station sushi, and you shouldn't. Well, a gas station brisket, if it's a Buc-ee's, yeah, you should. Go ahead. Have some. It's delicious.
Did you see the one? And I think it was made up, but the guy was supposedly French talking about Buc-ee's and said, the bathroom was bigger and cleaner than his own apartment.
I don't doubt that.
The brisket right off the floor if you wanted to.
Yeah, you know what? He's probably not wrong. He probably lives in filth in France. It'd be my guess. Probably filthy. But no, but it's true. We do everything to excess.
Yes.
But I will also have to say, people are like, oh my gosh, look. And that was the thing. This, again, Freddie LA7, he's a great follow on X. Follow him till the World Cup's over, then unfollow him because you're probably not going to want to know what's going on with him in Germany. Maybe you do, but I doubt it. So he makes a great point of like, they drove. He's like, we've been driving for almost 2 hours. We're still in Houston. And I'm like, yeah. that's pretty true. Not every city is like that, but Houston is so spread out. You're like, yeah, you are still in Houston, as a matter of fact. And he
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, he just talks about how he's been to like, this is our 7th state or 8th state or whatever it is. And, all the European people like, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And I want to be like, yeah, but you guys can go to like 6 different countries in the time that he can go to 6 different states.
Correct.
Because your countries are teeny tiny compared to what we're dealing with.
They're the size of our states. Yeah, there was another anecdotal story where the guy was asking, hey, how far is it to this is in Boston. How far is it to drive down to Las Vegas? Or, they just had no spatial concept of the real distances because they were trying to add these side trips on was what the story was. It was like DC, which, okay, possibly reasonable.
8 hours.
If you haven't driven here before, good luck on that one. But yeah, it was Vegas. How far is that? And they were just blown away again on the spatial size of the country itself.
Right.
Of what do you mean it's not just a day, half day, full day train ride to get to wherever?
Yeah,
well, that's what they're used to, right? You can cross borders in a day or less.
Yeah, and you could do like a day trip to Paris from England, probably. Yeah. Right across the channel. But that was the thing with it. Again, going back to Freddie, because he's the main one that I've been following, paying attention to. He's talked about how, like, again, he's driving through Tennessee and it's mountainous and there are trees everywhere and everything else. And he goes down to Atlanta. And for the most part, down I-85, it doesn't change that much.
No.
But then the drive from Atlanta, they stopped in Louisiana, down at Baton Rouge, because they stopped at LSU, and LSU hooked them up with T-shirts and everything else. And he was talking about they went to the stadium there, and he was like, again, 102,000. He's like, we don't have this. Like,
no.
we don't have 102. There are a couple big giant stadiums over in Europe, but not like SoFi. They don't have like $1 billion stadiums, because they were talking about it in Houston, and he was worried about, they were showing like the rain. I guess rain had come through there in Houston. He was like, we're not going to get to go. They were in Galveston at that point. He's like, I guess we're not going to get to go swim in the Gulf or whatever. And then he gets to Houston, and he's talking about how hot it is outside. And he's like, this is going to be a tough match because, it's so warm. And he goes in and goes, oh, never mind. The roof's closed. It's actually cold in here.
What did one guy call the American sports cathedrals is what he was calling it. Because like you said, they have stadiums, but not like we do. And what they were saying in the other story I saw was they were blown away because it's not just a national team stadium. It's, this college has one that's bigger than everything that they have. It's, the other guy said, what, 70,000 people for a sports match on a Tuesday night? Yeah, we do that all the time.
Right.
And it just, made the guy just go, I can't believe this.
Right.
But we were supposedly, compared to like Russia, and they list off some other countries, we didn't have to build any stadiums.
Right. That's
the entire thing.
Yep.
It was all done like, we're doing games. Here's where they're going to be. We're good to go. Whereas Russia and some of the other countries they mentioned, they had to build a few just to kind of accommodate
Qatar.
and make it work.
I mean, it was famous that Qatar, where they had the World Cup a few years back. It might have been the last one. I remember if Russia was the last one, or
It was
Qatar was the last one. Qatar, whatever you call it, whatever you pronounce it, Qatar. Anyway, the whole thing was, don't you remember? They're talking about how they were using slave labor to build the stadiums, and like people were dying like almost daily because there's no OSHA or anything like that.
Right.
It's like, go up there and you know, staple that together for us. And you're like, all right, this doesn't seem safe. You'll be fine. Just, you know, a little bit higher so you can hang the big giant flag that's going to turn into a windsock and knock you off the ladder and you're going to die. But that's fine. Just go ahead. I mean, that was the whole thing. Like we didn't have to build anything because we do this all the time. Every 20 years, we build new stadiums for a place that just got a new stadium.
Yeah, it's our spectacle. It's American spectaclism.
I mean,
come up with a new word.
Yeah, I mean, look at Atlanta. They built the Georgia Dome back in like 1994.
Mm-hmm.
They already have a new place because the Georgia Dome got old. They didn't even make 30 years, and now they have Mercedes-Benz or whatever it's called. It was just like, what was wrong with the Georgia Dome? Nah, outdated. What?
It's the fan experience, Bill. The fan experience.
I guess so. But and then you had you did have a bunch of like European football yos that were like, well, these stadiums are, I mean, it's all glitz and glamour. They don't have any, you know, there's no, you know, soul to them. Like, you know, they like their places over in Europe that hold, you know, 30,000 people, 40,000 people, but it has soul. And then I saw a bunch of Americans who were like, yeah, we just won't talk about, you know, like Michigan Stadium has been around forever. You know, like we won't mention Wrigley Field. We won't talk about Fenway Park. Like, we're just like, what are you talking about? Like, we have all these things. We just don't need to use them for this. We can use the big giant ones because people will fill it and not have to worry about, again, all these stadiums that have been around forever, that have character and soul or whatever you want to call it. So it's just been fun to watch.
And if he's talking about soul because of the age of the stadium, whatever. But I mean, we have rabid fans out there for various sports. I mean, college football. Yeah. Geez, you go to, you said Michigan or somewhere like that on the weekend. Yeah, you'll see the soul that you were maybe not seeing at more of a generic undertaking like soccer at these stadiums.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, you can say that, but when you're at those stadiums in Europe, it's that home team's crowd, which is going to make it loud and make it move and everything else versus, you know, one little section maybe that may be the visitors. These stadiums are being filled up with in some cases, Americans who don't give a rip about who wins. They're just going because they can say, oh, I went to the World Cup game.
We saw it.
Do they really care who wins between, I don't know, Egypt and whoever Egypt played? I don't remember who they played. But no, they don't.
With a 1-0 score.
Right. And you're not going to have 60,000 Egyptians aren't coming to fill that stadium. There's a large contingent of, you know, people that live here that they're rooting for their home country or whatever it is. I'm sure there are a bunch of people that are 5th, 6th, 7th generation Americans that are rooting for Italy because a long time ago, their uncle or somebody came across from Italy and ended up here. I guess if I wanted to, I have Scottish and English heritage. I should root for them. I don't care. I mean, it's cool that I can trace my roots back to there, but I have no real like emotional connection. Like, I actually hope England gets beat. I hope they lose before they get to like even the semis because their fans will be so distraught that I'll love it. Because I know we're not going to win. I mean, we played well. I mean, 4-1, but I mean, how
just not our sport?
How good is Portugal really? You know, or Paraguay. Paraguay, is that who we played? I don't even remember who we played.
I think it's Paraguay, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you're right.
Portugal's probably better. I don't know.
I mean, what's funny is as many people that play soccer, and it's come on in the last 30, 40 years here, we still don't seem to be very good at it.
No, because again, the best athletes in Europe, and this is a generalization, so don't hit me up. Oh, that's not true. Look at this guy's. Generally, the best athletes in Europe and the best athletes in South America play soccer.
Yes.
And if you can't play soccer, you go play something else. In the U.S., our best athletes are playing basketball and football, to a lesser degree, baseball. They're not playing soccer as much as their main sport. Now, that's changed because I'm sure you remember when we were kids, we were told this is the world sport. You need to start playing this because this is going to take over. People, when you're adults and when you're older, people are going to pay attention to soccer like they do. And this is, again, in the 70s, Gen X. The NFL was big, but baseball was still bigger at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody said, oh, this is going to take over football. This is going to take over baseball. It's going to be huge here in the U.S. And yeah, as far as participation goes, a lot of little kids play soccer. You know why? Because you don't get your head bashed in like you do in
Mom
football.
likes the safety of it.
And exactly right, which is the number one reason. Also, because I was a small, slight of build kid, which, I mean, I was only 5. I ended up only 5'8", so I was tiny anyway. My mom was like, "You're not doing that. Like, you go run around. Go get your energy out running up and down on a soccer field. I don't understand the rules, but I'd rather have you do that." I mean, my dad didn't have a kid that played football, but he coached Pee Wee League, whatever it was, football. There's a trophy somewhere at my mom's house in a box from when he won some like 150-pound weight class, football championship with the team that he was coaching, and back in the late 60s or early 70s. So that's what you did as American Dad. You coached football, you coached, baseball. He didn't really do basketball, but he did both of those. The guy that I had for my soccer coach the 1 year was from the Netherlands. He happened to be here like working, and his son was in my elementary school for the few years that they lived here. That was my soccer coach, Coach Van Ryan. It's very Dutch. So, yeah, it was just like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, in contrast, growing up in rural Virginia, and so prime age group would have been late 70s, early 80s for me, we only had Little League. There was no rec league, junior league basketball, no soccer. Only thing that existed outside of the school was Little League baseball. Soccer only existed at the high school level. And even then, it was played in the fall. And it was a co-ed teams because there weren't enough people to play men's, boys soccer, girls soccer. So it was co-ed teams in our rural region where there was soccer. And even then, not all the schools played it. So to think where it was then and now, you get both, and rec leagues on the weekends that compete with football and Little League. It's just, like I said, surprisingly, it's grown so much. We're still not very good at it.
Right. We're better than we have been. Like, some of our players go over and play in the top leagues over in Europe, which wasn't really happening way back when. That was the other thing. I remember being grown up because Pele came and played for the New York Cosmos, if you remember that from the old professional soccer league. And that was the big deal. Oh my gosh, Pele's here. And I was like, okay, awesome. I guess it's cool. Everybody tells me he's the best in the world at one point. All right. And then in 94, again, we're past our age of participating in it. But remember, it was the World Cup in 94. I think it was here, if I remember. And we did okay. The guy, and everybody's like, that's it. Here's the explosion of soccer. Of course, we were told the same thing 5 years later when the women won the title. I think it was against China when Brandy Chastain pulled her jersey off after she made the game-winning goal. And everybody went, here it is. This is the start. Women's soccer is going to be huge. The women's sports are going to start taking over. They're going to be on par with the men. And here we are 27 years later after that. And yes, they get way more recognition. And yes, the women's soccer team has been way more successful than the men because most other countries oppress their women and don't let them play games. Now that they've started letting them, they're starting to catch up. And we don't win it all the time like we were before. Funny how that works out. But we still, like, the WNBA languished up until the past 3 or 4 years when you had like Caitlin Clark come in and Angel Reese and that whole thing. And now it's starting to get bigger, but even that's starting to be fatigued because you're just like, so tired of hearing them complain about, oh, we don't get this, we don't get that. Like, you've made no money. You've been a sunk cost for years. So we've been told all this time, here comes the next thing. The men's soccer team in 94. Oh, the next thing. Okay, well, now the World Cup is here again, and we're splitting it with Mexico and Canada and everything else. For the next month, everybody's going to be like pretending they like soccer. And then it'll end, and nobody will pay any attention to the MLS anymore. If you're a diehard soccer guy, you will.
Yeah.
But
there's no casual fandom for it.
No.
But going back, like you said, you know, how things haven't changed. You'll probably know his name. I can't remember. He's probably supposedly right now one of the best American soccer players.
Okay.
His parents played at Mason.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Christian Pulisic.
Yes, right? So I went and looked him up when I said, interesting. Well, he played high school here, and then he went and started playing. As soon as he was out of high school, he went and played club leagues overseas because he was that good. There was no, right, where we're going to play in college, get better, and move on. No, he went directly to Europe, even though, I mean, his parents were from there, and started playing in club leagues over there because he was that good.
Right.
So there was kind of there really isn't like a true farm system gateway if you're that good in the U.S. to keep playing, because everyone plays in Europe. You go over there and make the money that way. You know, hockey used to be the same as what I understood. Then we got much better with, you know, lower league levels. And so it wasn't just this jump to the NHL that we started having better college teams, and we started having minor league hockey, which built up our hockey skill sets amongst our players. And so we eventually got better. But then reading that about him was like, oh, soccer is still behind the 8 ball here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll still have the top male soccer players and female. But the top male players in college, they'll go to MLS and play because they're not good enough to go to Europe and play.
Yeah.
That's a generalization, but for the most part, your top players are not leaving college and you're graduating or whatever, and then headed over to the big club teams. They may go to the MLS or whatever, but yeah, we don't have the whole thing. And that's why it's different, because like over in other countries, whether it's down in the Dominican or Brazil or wherever, you'll go to what's academy. So if you're like, wow, at 10 or 11 years old, they're like, this kid might be one of the best soccer players we have. Well, head off to the soccer academy. We'll educate you there, but you're going to play soccer basically 8 to 10 hours a day. And that's how we're going to develop you. I mean, it's the same reason why everybody looks at it, the small country like the Dominican Republic, right? Yeah. Tiny country compared to the U.S. But if you did it per capita, look how many more baseball players they develop than the U.S. does. Well, they're not doing anything special, except when a kid shows that he's exceptional at the sport, they let him play the sport. When he's 12, he's playing baseball. And again, the weather makes a difference too. Yeah. He's playing it all the time because that's their national heritage of you're going to become a baseball player and go to the States and make millions of dollars. That's how it works. We don't do that here. We're not putting kids directly into like a sports academy from the time they're 12, and that's all they do is that sport until they either get drafted or flame out and don't make it. So
kind of like gymnast, right?
I mean, honestly, yeah.
I mean, similar, because once they're kind of pegged, they start young and they're on it till, of course, they flame out early age-wise because they just can't do those moves anymore. But that's the thing, right? You hear about they showed the propensity for it, and they kept them in the program, and before school, after school, and that's all they do for 12 to 18, and then usually the knee goes or something else. But yeah, it sounded similar once you say that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point. The gymnasts, maybe especially women, female gymnasts, may be the only ones, and maybe figure skating. Skating's almost
that one's similar too.
Yeah, figure skating is almost the same way, but again, still a lot more on the female side than the male side. But definitely gymnastics you remember Bella Corolla running his whole thing. Was it down in Texas, wherever they were? I think it was Texas.
I think it was Texas,
Yeah, where they would basically, they're with the Corollas and they're working on their gymnastic stuff for 10 hours a day, and then they would have like 2 or 3 hours of like study hall and tutoring and stuff like that, so they could get through high school and get their GED. But they weren't going to school; they were doing gymnastics. And then you see a lot of the kids, like you said, just break down because it's so much, but you have to do it in order to become, a world champion. So, but yeah, again, the fans here from Europe that are just amazed by America, so much fun. I'm just loving all of it, mainly because I'm always fascinated, like when people, come here, and again, they just don't realize the size and scope of the U.S. I mean, it's kind of like when we went on the trip with Mason. Gosh, it's probably been 7 or 8 years now, whenever it was, when we went to Spain, when Coach Paulson was still here as our coach, and we did the, every so often you can go and do your, tour, your summer tour where you can play overseas for, 10 days or whatever it is. So we went to Spain, and it was cool. I'd never been to Spain. I'd never been to Europe before. I don't know if I'll ever get back there again. But Spain was awesome. But it's the same reaction that people have here when they see the vastness and how different states are from, in the U.S., from state to state to state, whether it's mountainous or beach or, when you get to Texas, it's flat and all that stuff. For us to go over there and they're showing you around and they're like, okay, this statue or this, what has been here since, 1322, and you're like, man, that's 700 years. You're like,
yeah,
it's a long time. Like we're like, yay, 250, and they're like, that's you're babies. It's like we've been here for all this time, and then the more and more you hear, they keep finding more and more stuff. It keeps getting pushed back further and further about when like humans were actually building cities and communities and everything else. And you just kind of go, yeah, we don't have that here in the U.S. as far as like, they're guessing the pyramids might be 12 to 13,000 years old instead of the 4 to 6 that they originally thought. I mean, there's a lot of theories out there, but it's like, yeah, okay, we don't. I mean, that's what they have. Europe does have that on us. They've got definitely stuff that's been around way more than we have here. So,
oh yeah.
So that's kind of cool to go and do that, and then to see their reaction here. It's interesting. It's fun.
Well, and not just them, Europe. I mean, the other one I loved was, I guess he's a Japanese tourist. First time having the barbecue, and you just, when they set the plate in front of him and it's just stacked.
It's as big as his head.
Like, what in the world? And then they squirt the sauce all over it, and then he bites in, and it's like those videos of the kids, like first time drinking soda pop, first time eating bacon, and I just go, what is this? That's that. And there was one with the boat. There was one, a guy from England shooting a gun. He was just beside himself, like, I get it now. I get it.
Yep. It's
Welcome,
like
bud. You can move here.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, it's like a lot of that stuff. Like if you've never done it before and you're like, oh, this seems terrible, it's awful. And then you're like, all right, I mean, that's not so bad. It's pretty good.
This was bad. This feels good.
I'm surprised. Well, I guess I'm not that surprised, but I thought the Japanese did have their own like barbecue stuff. I don't mean like Korean barbecue stuff. I mean like regular Japanese. I thought they had started doing barbecue. Is that maybe that's not the case?
Well, no, I think they have. I think it's, like us and our Chinese food that, we eat rice and beef, right? And that's, we're told Chinese, but if you went to get Chinese street food,
right,
God knows what you're eating is what I've been told.
Right.
And so it's not what you expect. That was a warning a friend of mine said, like, don't go to China and ask for Chinese food. You'll get something you really don't want.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I know they've been into Westerns and Coca-Cola and everything, but I'm sure there's still something, to be in the homeland of the culture.
Sure.
And like that, have that brisket thrown at you that way.
Well, I'm sure it's the portions too, because they don't mess around. If he was down in Texas or wherever, I mean, they're like, all right.
Like I said, it was a plate, right? And they just thunk. You hear it thunk on the table, and he's just, it's bigger than his head. But I'm sure that was part of the setup of let's just really surprise this guy, blow his mind.
Makes me want to go up the street and get barbecue at the local place here. Hungry. So we'll keep watching it as we're recording this. It's Thursday, so the U.S. plays tomorrow night. Did you watch game one? Did you watch their first game?
Nope.
I didn't either. You know why?
Why?
It was 9 o'clock on a Friday.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I can't do this. I had to get up the next day for something. And I was like, I want to watch, but I don't want to be invested until 11:30. And then I got to get up the next day at like 6:30. I'm an old man. I get it, but I just couldn't do it. And fortunately, as I was going to bed, I like flipped and looked at the score and it was already 2-0. I was like, see, I didn't miss anything. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, no, I didn't want, I can't wrap my head around the sport. And like I said, the exaggeration, but when you watch 90 minutes of it for it to end up 1-0, and all they're doing is running this way, running that way, running back this way a few times. No, nothing there. We're going back this way.
Right.
And just nothing happens. More so in other European style where someone acts like they get hit and you think they need to be medvaced out the way they're acting, but they're back in the game 2 minutes later and everything seems okay. I haven't got into the sport as a spectator just to watch it.
Yeah,
that's always been a hard spot for me.
I mean, their argument would be a 4-1 game would be like a 28-7 game in NFL football. Yeah. Like the U.S. won 4-1, so that'd be like watching a 28-7. And my argument is, it doesn't translate quite that same way because there are very, very few games that finish 14-7 or 7-0, and there's a lot of, like you said, 1-0. Like the biggest game was it Cape Verde the other day tied Spain, and it was like a huge thing because again, Spain's one of the best teams in the world. Good on them. They tied them. Can you imagine getting excited about, oh my gosh, look what happened. The Giants, they were able to hold Seattle. They tied 0-0.
Right.
Or even 3-3. You'd be like, that was the worst football game I've ever watched. It was terrible.
Right.
So, I mean, that, it's cool for them to be able to do that, but it doesn't translate. It's not the same thing. People go, oh, 4-1 is 28-7. It's not.
It's not.
Not really. Not really.
It's the acquired taste of American sports, right? Because look what we did to baseball. It started dragging itself out. Yep. And so, we're going to put in pitch clocks, right? Because we want to keep this moving because otherwise people just go, right. We want to see more hitting, especially when we're back during the Barry Bonds days and the home run chases. People were excited because action was happening. Something was going on extraordinary. Not, bottom of the ninth, it's still 0-0.
Right.
People did not like those games. They love scoring. That's America.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. You know what else is America? Mumford & Sons. That's America. And I know you went and saw them in concert. They're Americana, right? Are they American or are they from somewhere else?
No, they're from across the pond.
Are they?
Britain, yes.
Well, they play American music, it sounds like.
Right. Well, you got to remember, so they're considered folk, acoustic, and the basis of that of what we have here in the U.S.
Yeah.
From over there, right? So it's banjos, acoustic guitar. That's where it all started for us. Came, from Newfoundland to all the early settlers. They brought that over.
Newfoundland's Canada.
Yeah, but it all came first.
All right. For some reason, I thought Mumford & Sons started in like Virginia somewhere.
No, that was that Oliver guy. But again, same style of music, right?
Oliver Anthony or Anthony Oliver, whatever his name was. Okay.
Exactly. Kind of the folksy, it's just guitar, it's banjos. That's what they do. They do it very well. I wasn't familiar with their entire catalog, just more of the hits, but I ended up with tickets. I said, let's go. It's a beautiful Tuesday night. And for almost 2.5 hours, I was highly entertained.
Okay.
Because that's how good they are. There was a light show, but it was really just about them playing, singing, and not knowing the music to keep me, entertained and my attention for 2 hours. Amazing. It was just that good because you may not know the song, but the lyrics, the musicality, how good they are instrumental wise, you're just captivated. Like you just sit there and heads bobbing, knees going. It'd be just, those around me were getting wild and crazy. Like a religious experience for some people.
Right.
I was laughing. There was the young females in their sundresses, and they had the arm up in the air. It was,
Right.
like, wow, they're really into this. But I get it because it was that good of a show. And like I said, 2.5 hours for me not to sit there and go, all right, can we go? I'm kind of tired of this.
Right.
No, it was a beautiful night out. They put on a great show. So if they're going to be in your area, it's definitely worth the time, worth the money to go, and just enjoy it. I mean, I was explaining to Susan that it is Americana music because you hear the banjos, you hear the bass fiddle. There's, depending on what song it is, it's kind of like a bunch of British guys playing American music. It's kind of funny. But like I said, it originates from there. So
cool.
There's a basis for it.
I love it. Gary's summer concert season continues. You've been doing a lot of that. What's next up?
The only one guaranteed right now is Toto, Christopher Cross, and the Romantics, July 23rd.
Nice.
But I end up through this program with free tickets as a first responder. So who knows what'll come up between now and then.
That's even better.
Oh, yeah.
Free. That's a great word for it. Free.
Well, this one was Mumford & Sons was free. So
then, yeah, you should have loved every 2.5, every minute of that 2.5 hours. It was free.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part I enjoyed. It's down the street from the casino, so we have front parking there because we have a handicap tag, and I'm part of the Players Club. So you can park for free at the casino, get your free Coke, walk down to the venue, see the show, walk back, wait for the crowd to dissipate. So you go sit down and try to win some money, have some more free Cokes and drinks at the bar, and it becomes quite the good evening when you add all of that in.
Those World Cup people would be like, I can't believe you get free refills at the casino.
Yes. It's just, now I used to Vegas where they'll come around and take your drink order. They just have a drink bar, coffee, tea, soda machine. You can just go up, get your own, and go sit back down.
That's awesome.
So I have used it, admittingly. We'll stop by and go, I'm thirsty. You thirsty? Okay. Because we can pull in, park up front, run in, grab a couple Cokes, come back to the car, and keep going.
Yeah, there you go. Nothing wrong with that. Fine. You're part of the Players Club. They should, you should have a name. You should have your own little, like, how some of the bars would have the mugs, or if you were regular at the bar, you'd have your own mug behind the bar. You'd be like, yeah, if they're there, number locker 37. That's me. Just go ahead and pull that down. They should have that for you.
Should have my own handle for the slot machine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know how they can change the top on the taps?
Yes.
They should have that for the big giant ball in the slot machine. You should be like, I'm here. I'm getting ready to go play. All right, we'll have your ball ready for you right away, Mr. Dollar Height. And they should come over and twist the top off the one, and then be like, oh, look, we have your personal one right here. Let me put that right on the top. There you go, sir. Good luck with your pulls today.
Yes.
That's what they should do, is that kind of elite service that they need to do.
They should do it because I usually play their super machine.
Mm-hmm.
Two of these big ones, right? And they're just there to kind of attract people and make people pay attention because they're located near the entrances. It's $1 per spin. The max bet's $5. So, your increases chance. So I kind of, all right, we'll budget for this one and drop, $5 a spin in there. So that's the one that they need to come put the handles on for me.
Yeah.
Not that chintzy stuff for pennies out in the middle.
Yeah. So is that it? You're a slot machine? I don't go to the casinos a ton. I mean, there's one right over across the bridge from us across the river at National Harbor. Obviously, they have an MGM over there. Mm-hmm. And I went to Vegas one time with work, and we've been down to Puerto Rico a couple times with Mason basketball and stayed at a hotel where they have a casino. And the one week I was down there, I actually came out on top. I actually paid for a catamaran snorkeling trip with the money that I won playing blackjack. But slot machines, for whatever reason, I think it's because I'm ADHD. I just get bored. After about 3 pulls, I'm like, all right, what else is there to do? Because after a while, I'm like, I don't get this. So,
well, most of the slot machines now are these video ones, which
you got to touch the screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one I play, like I said, it's more of a tourist trap one because it's big. You know, it's by itself, it's isolated,
And it's $1.
and it's $1. But I also figured out, because except for the other night, my past 5 trips on it, if you start with about $100, you're going to make money, because when it hits the multipliers, when you're betting the 5, it hits pretty hard, it hits pretty good.
Okay.
The other night I only dropped 40, didn't work out. So and of course I was only playing $1 spins versus the 5. But overall, I do agree with you. I couldn't sit there like some people are just zombies. Just hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, and just sit there. And table games, I'm either or on that. To me, it's just, I like the short-term atmosphere of the casino.
Right.
But I'm not one to go sit in there for hours on end, just trying for the next spin, trying for the next spin.
Right.
I'd rather spend my time, because we still have the horse track across the street.
Go. That's fun.
And they run on Wednesdays and Sundays. I'll go sit there and eat the $2 hot dogs and play the horses just for fun and sit outside.
That's
so
great.
That's what I love.
Yeah, you can go drop $2 a race.
Yep.
We did that. I don't know if you ever went with us. We used to do that in college every once in a while. Or we'd go over to Maryland to like Laurel Park or something.
Yep.
And you could sit there for the whole evening. It didn't cost you anything to get in, because they were just expecting you to gamble.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd sit there and be like, all right, everybody puts in $2. And there was enough of us that you could usually cover every horse in the race.
Yeah.
So somebody was going to win. And that made it fun, because you're like, oh, look at that. Somebody, Johnny won this time. All right, great. So then since Johnny won, he got the last pick of the horse, like the last pick, because he already won one. And whoever's horse came in last would get the first pick of the next race. So I mean, we had a little system. It worked out, and it was fun because you didn't have to know anything about the horse. You're just like, oh, he's 4-1. I'll take him. And then it would work your way down, and you're like, all right, well, what's left? Who do I get? And then, all right, good luck. 24-1. He's probably getting up his glue after this weekend, but
right.
Go for it.
His last race.
Yeah.
I can't remember the one. It was after college when I was working at the radio station, because we had trade deals. It was over in Fort Washington. I can't remember which one it was, but they had a super nice clubhouse. And you go on Sundays, because Friday nights get a little jammed, Saturdays too, but Sunday brunch.
Oh, okay.
Sit up in the big air-conditioned clubhouse.
All right.
Table service, like you're eating steak, reasonable rate. You're just eating meals. You got your little TV right there to your right, depending on which side table you're sitting on, and then you're looking out the big glass wall to the races, and you can bet from your table. And so it's that kind of little bit, like you said, the VIP experience that made you go, "Oh, I like this."
You over at Rosecroft?
Is that what? Yeah, I was trying to. I want to say Flower or something, but yes,
I think it was Rosecroft. That was the one. That was the one. Were you?
Love to go there.
Were you with us when we went up to Philly? The one time? Oh, I don't think you were.
Nope.
It was me and Dave Chrisman and a couple other people all went up to Philly. We were going up, I want to say maybe for a baseball weekend or something. I can't remember what it was. And they had the OTB places, off-track betting spots. So we were sitting there and betting on harness racing, which if you know anything about harness racing, usually the favorite, it's not quite the same as the thoroughbreds where you like get an upset every now and then. Harness racing, I mean, like thoroughbreds very rarely will go off at even odds. Like it'd be unusual to have a thoroughbred race where somebody's 1-1. In harness racing, you'll have stuff where normal wagers might be like, oh, this horse is 3-1, 4-1, whatever. You have to bet $1 to win $5. Harness racing will be the other way, 1-5, where you have to bet $5 to win $1.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's going to win. Well, I just remember that one of the guys that was with us, again, we're betting $1 here, $1 there, whatever it was. Like, race goes off, and again, he had never gambled on the horses before. So like the rest of us, like my cousin Travis was with us, and we're figuring out, all right, what do we want to do? Let's do a little trifecta here. What do we want to box this thing? We're like trying to do all the little stuff, right? And all of a sudden we hear he's like, oh my gosh, he's getting all excited. We're like, wait, what's going on? He's like, that's my horse. He's going in, and, it's the harness racing or whatever. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I mean, he's screaming. His horse won. We're like, oh my gosh, I can't. Like, that's the first race you ever bet on. You won. That's incredible. He goes, how much do I win for my quarter? He won. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
5 cents.
Oh.
5 cents. His horse had gone off 1 to 5, and he was able to put a quarter on it. He won 5 cents. That was it. And everybody around him were like, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. That's amazing. And then we were like, how much did you win? Dinner? Yeah, we're like, how much did you win, man? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I put down 25 cents. And I was like, oh my God, you won 5 cents. Dude. Like, what are you doing? But I mean, hey, he was happy he won. He's like, he's like, I can't believe I picked a winner. I'm like, if you didn't, I don't know what to tell you, because he was 1 to 5. I was like, for him not to win, he would have had to broken his leg and fallen over. And I said he probably still could have got up and like dragged the chariot all the way across, and he probably still would have won because every other horse in that race sucked. But I was like, you won, so it's good. I was like, I'm happy for you, but I was like, please don't do that again unless you've at least got $1 or $2 on the race. Like, it's embarrassing.
It's still, like I said, I'd rather go sit and watch, because it's harness racing here too. So
yeah,
I'd rather go do that than sit, like I said, all day in a casino.
Yes,
just
agreed.
Because it's the atmosphere, right? You can bet a little. There's action. There's horses. You don't know what's going to happen. You get to look at the other degenerate gamblers around you, depending on what's going on.
Smoke a cigar. It's great.
Yes. Yeah. There's always cheap eats at the horse track.
Yes.
It's just kind of fun. I was telling Susan the other day, I was like, it'd be really cool if they brought back Greyhound racing up here. They had it at one point, but people are too angry about that.
Yeah.
Like,
that one not
just
so much.
Dogs, let them have fun.
Exactly.
That's what dogs do.
They want to chase the rabbit. That's all they want to do. It's fine. It's fine. I remember the first time I ever went to a track, I went to Churchill Downs. Not for the Kentucky Derby. We just happened to be on a trip and we were coming back. Oh, this was before they spent millions of dollars fixing up Churchill Downs. This would have been back like 1983 or 84.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I was like 13. We were coming back. And it was cool because I was like, I've never been. Oh, this is going to be amazing. Because the Washington Post, when you had Rosecroft and Laurel and Pimlico and all, like they printed every day. They'd have like the races from the day before, and there was a guy, I think Andrew Beyer was his name, that would like have his fake start the season with $1,000, and he would tell you what he bet on and everything. So I was like, I'm gonna see if I can beat this guy. And so I would sit there and be like, I'm gonna pick this horse, and I would save the paper till the next day and be like, that didn't work out so well. And then I finally figured out, like, hey, it's weird. These jockeys all have the same name, and this wins all the time. So I was like, and this is when Kent DeSormo was racing in Maryland, and he became a big famous. I think he won the Derby a couple times, or at least once. So I was like, that's how I'm going to start picking, is have the jockey do the day before. Obviously, he's good because he's getting these right. So I did that. So I'm thinking, when I get to Churchill Downs, I'm like, I do this all the time. This is no problem. I'm like 12, 13, right? So I get like $10. They're like, we're going to stay for 2 races or whatever. And I mean, there's nobody there. It is not packed at all. And it is as typical as you said. You see all the other degenerates there, and there were degenerates there. And it was the old day. Like now, people are probably looking on their phones.
Yes.
This was the old day of having the newspaper, whatever it was, the Racing Forum.
The program.
Yeah, the program.
Pay for.
Yeah. And there's a guy sitting down, and I mean, he probably weighed, I don't want to insult the dude. He's probably not around anymore because he's pretty old then. He probably weighed 350. And this is the summertime because we're on vacation. So he's 350 and sweating and just dripping. And I'm like, that's not what I aspire to be in my horse racing betting career. But he was a very nice guy because he heard, like, it was, my dad didn't go on this trip. So it was like my mom, another friend of ours, and then my sister was with us, and another family friend that was coming back. She lived in New Orleans, but was coming back with us because she had her cousins lived up in Virginia. That's how we knew them. So she was going to stay with them. So there's like 5 of us. I'm the only dude. So I'm the only one that's like really into it. I was like, this is great. So the guy heard everybody talking about it because I was like, I don't think they'll let me bet because I'm 13 and you got to be, they're not, like, I can't pass for 18. It's not going to work. You had to be 18. So the guy was like, if you want somebody to walk up there with you, he's like, I'll do it. And again, today you'd be like, creepy dude. Like, what are you doing?
Was he wearing suspenders and the button-up short sleeve?
No, but he did have on long pants, which I thought was weird in the summertime. But again, when you're a man of that large a carriage, you probably don't want to wear shorts. I don't know. But so no, he had on long pants and he did have the short sleeve button up, which again is an awful look.
It's a Southern classic.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Did he have suspenders? I don't think he had suspenders.
Okay.
I don't remember. But he definitely, I do remember the button-up short sleeve shirt because I noticed that all the time because I'm like, why would you ever do that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Other than like Hawaiian shirts, I've never understood the button-up collared shirt. But anyway, so my mom's like, yeah, she's like, that's fine. She goes, we're going to stay for 2 races. She goes, and that's it because we don't have time for any more. She's like, so do $5 on one race, $5 on the other. I was like, okay, cool. So again, walk up to the main track thing, like the betting windows up there. Me and this dude, like everybody else, stayed back in the grandstand. And I think about it now, I'm like, he could have just been like, let's go, and walked right out with me and just like, you're coming with me now. You're kidnapped. But really, really good dude. He's like, hey, this is my lucky window. Let's go over here. Window number 4. I remember window number 4. We're going to go to window number 4. Talk to, I don't remember the counter person's name, but he's like, I know them. He's like, just tell them what race you want, and they'll kind of walk you through what you want to do. I was like, all right, cool. So I walked up and was talking to the guy, and they immediately said, you can't place the bet. Tell me what you want. He's like, but he has to hand me the money. So I was able to do everything except actually do the transaction.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'd like to put $5 on this horse for this race, just straight to win. That's it. And the guy goes, okay, I need the money. And so I handed the $5 to the gentleman who was sweating, and he handed it over to the guy. And then I got my ticket, and my horse came in 5th. Did not work out very well. So I went back up, and I did the next race again, $5. I tried to get cute because I'm like, well, if I'm here, you got to do it this way. So I did the double, whatever it is. So I did that. I didn't do the trifecta. I did the double. And came to $5, and the odds, I think, once they calculated the 2 was like, I think 12-1 for them to go 1-2, and I won $60. I got back for my 5, and
Did you
so
wave it at your mother, like, see?
No, here's what I did because I've seen this in movies before. The guy's counting out my cash, and I go, hey, because he's going, here's 10. He was going to give me 3 20s, and I was like, can I have 10s and 5s? Yeah, I was a kid. I'm like, I don't want 20s because it's too hard to break them. This is 1984. So like, give me 10s and 5s. So he gave me 3 10s, and then he gave me 6 5s. I said, thank you. Fold up. And before I turned to the old man and I go, this for you. And I gave him $5.
You big tipper.
I know. I was like, I don't know why, but I'm like, he didn't do anything other than like hand the money over to the dude. He didn't help me at all. But I was like, this is for you.
He
and he was
brokered the deal for you.
Yeah, but he was just like,
do it on your own.
Dude, he looked at that $5 like, you asshole. He's just like, really? He put it in his pocket. I mean, he didn't give it back, but he was just like, all right. He's like, have a good trip. And I was like, thanks, man. So yeah, I went back and I'm like, look, I won. And they were like, okay, are you ready to go now? Because like my sister's like, she was 16. She was like, let's get out of here. So yeah, so that was the first time. So I was like, this is fantastic. I'm great at this. No, I think it's the only time I've come out ahead when I've gone to the horse race, other than like going to Gold Cup, like they have out in Leesburg.
I miss Gold Cup.
Yeah,
I've told people about that here, and they just don't quite. I'm like, no, you have to see it to understand it.
Well, have you gone to the Skowhegan County Fair?
No.
Okay, the Skowhegan County Fair, I believe, is the oldest county fair in the United States. So there's a plus for it. I believe that's correct.
I think it's the second because I think Freiburg's the oldest.
Okay, well, it's up there then. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, I know it is. They
still claim it. I think they claim it, but who knows? Anyway, they do horse racing there.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. You should go to the Skowhegan County Fair. It is county fair season.
Yes. Usually it's August is when they kick off. So I will put that on the list and see if
Do
we
it.
end up there.
Because I
know
bet
Freiburg has some horse races too.
I bet also that they'll have free concerts.
Yes.
Music.
Not big names, but they have concerts.
You never know. Skowhegan draws them in.
Well, the big one is, it's not called the main state fair. The big one is what they call it, the Bangor Fair. It's, there's Virginia. We used to have the Virginia State Fair. We don't have that here.
Yep.
I think it's the Marshall Tucker Band is the headlining artist.
You said there are no big names. How dare you? How dare you? No, I've been to the Skowhegan County Fair and bet on the horses while I was at the Skowhegan County Fair.
Did not go there.
I did not do well. No, I did well. Do you remember? You should remember this. Remember when we were in college?
Mm-hmm.
I think the girl's name was Andrea, if I remember.
Okay.
She did not go to Mason.
Oh.
She had a friend that went to Mason.
Okay.
And that's how we met her. And I can't remember the friend's name now off the top of my head, but it was somebody that lived on your hall.
Okay.
Like around the corner. But anyway, I went to Gold Cup with her.
Okay.
And her dad was, I want to say Navy, and was an admiral in the Navy. So unbeknownst to me, because of course I'm like, okay, I'm out of my element here. I'm 20-something-year-old college student. I'm going to Gold Cup. I'm like, what's the dress code for this? Because I've never been before. And it was, khakis and the button up and the whole nine. I'm like, it's in June or whenever it was. I'm like, it's going to be, I guess it was May because it's at the same time as the Derby.
Still kind of warm.
Yeah, but I was like, but it ended up being a nice day. It was fine. So when I get there and like you're in the tent and everything, I was like, this is amazing. And somebody goes, hey, we need to set up, we need to get tables and chairs set up because they're going to bring the food here in the next, half hour. So I'm like, oh, Bean, what are you supposed to do? You go help. Like you should go. Okay. Right? That's what you're supposed to do. Oh, that was a mistake.
Yes.
Because I'm with the Admiral.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that. I was insulting the other people that were there because it made it, well, if you're at the Admiral and you're working, it means that we're not working hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
I had no concept of this. But immediately the girl Andrea that I was with was like, don't do that. And I'm like, what am I carrying the table wrong? Like, what am I doing?
Right.
No, she's like, you're with my dad's party. She's like, that's an insult to the people that are working.
Yes.
It's like, what are you talking about? She goes, yeah. She's like, anybody that's with us shouldn't do any of that because that is implying that the, plebes or whatever you want to call them, the lower ranked people aren't working hard enough. I said, I've never heard that in my life. And it seems rude, but you know what? Great.
Go with it.
I don't have to do a damn thing all day. So it was awesome. It was great. And I did okay at that Gold Cup, dollar here, dollar there. You're betting like with a couple of guys. There was a few guys that were like in their mid to late 20s that were just starting out. They just got out of the Naval Academy and we're doing stuff and we're based at the Pentagon and they got invited to this thing. And so they were cool. So we're just doing a little gambling here and there. And I made some money off of them. But other than that, I don't think I've ever come out ahead. Other than the first time at Churchill Downs, never come out ahead when I've been
going. Your luck on that first go round.
I know. I hit the really double or whatever the stupid thing is called. I don't even remember what it's called now. But I was like, sweet. It's 5 for you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, old sweaty man.
But no, you're right though. You just made me realize at one point I dated a general's daughter.
Oh yes,
the Pentagon.
Yep.
And then eventually, and I remember certain things like that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Especially in the presence of other uniformed personnel.
Correct.
You just quietly fade to the back, and he does his thing, and it's his world, and you're just tagging along, but don't do anything. Don't, you're not there glad handing. You're not being sociable. You're just there in his presence off to the side. So it made me think about it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep. It was a whole, and I mean,
it's a different world.
Yeah. And my mom was DOD. So I would go and meet, like I met a guy who's a colonel that ended up being a general. and ended up on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. General Leitner, who I knew, who people that are military will know General Leitner's name and everything. So I knew all these people. I had met all these people. I had never heard of this concept of if you're the guest of a general, an admiral, whatever it was, you don't do any of that work. You just, as you said, you're there. Yep. And I guess even more insulting because I was with the admiral's daughter. So that's even more of a thing. Like, and since I wasn't military at all, then it's like, well, who's the civilian doing
who's
all
the interloper?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's kind of what it was. Like, it was like, well, why the civilians shouldn't be like we should be doing all this stuff. So it was kind of a weird thing. You know whose friend it was? I think. Do you remember the guy? His nickname was Sweet or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I think she was his friend, or something along those lines.
All right.
I don't remember. I don't remember how. I think that's right. I know she didn't go to Mason. And I know because she was home. She went to Central Florida, maybe, or South Florida. I don't remember exactly which school. Somewhere in Florida. And she was home for the summer. And we hung out for the summer. And then, like, every once in a while, if she was home for break, we might hang out. And then we just kind of lost touch because it's college. You didn't have cell phones. You weren't texting. You had to actually go out of your way to call. It was a long distance, and that cost you money. And I'm not going to do that. Like, when am I going to see you? Like, you're in Florida. You know.
What good are you to me?
It's pretty much what it was. She was like, you should fly down. And I was like, I mean, it was just kind of like, what am I guess, again, because flying back then was expensive. If you're a college kid, it wasn't cheap. So I think about that. I was like, maybe I should have at some point just gone on a road trip.
There's no Spirit Airlines or Allegiant back then.
No, nothing. No, I think I looked, and it was going to be like $300 to $400, and that's 1990's $300, $400. It was not. I was like, it's a lot of money for me. She's very sweet. We had fun. I mean, it was great, but I can't remember. Last I knew, she was in Florida. I don't know, and I can't remember the dudes. Who else was on that hall with you?
There was Sweetness. Well,
not Walter Payton, but
yeah, that was his nickname. I remember Lance, who was on the track team. Dan, who roomed with him, he was on the track team too, I think, or wanted to be. There's Jimmy.
I don't think she was friends with either one of them.
Okay.
I feel like it was Sweet, or I don't think it was one of the girls.
Okay. Because that would have been sophomore year when we lived over in.
Yes, it was that dorm. It was President's Park.
President's Park.
You lived in, what was that, Harrison?
Second floor. Was that Lincoln?
No, it was Lincoln. That's it. Yep, you're in second floor Lincoln. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that year.
I just don't remember. I can't play, like, the story sounds familiar, but I just can't place like anything beyond that.
Yeah,
but that was a crazy year. So
yeah. Well, this would have been near the end of that year because Gold Cup was in May, and Gold Cup was like one of the first. It was maybe like the second or third time we'd even hung out, because that's why I was like, "You want me to go with you with your dad to Gold?" Like, that's weird. Like, it's a little early to be, we've gone out like twice. Like, we've hung out in the dorms with whoever and went out like one other time, just like with a bunch of people. And it's like, and you want me to go to Gold Cup? Okay. I probably should have paid better attention because, again, Admiral's daughter, she probably had money.
But here's the thing, and this is what I tell my son, my stepkids, and I don't think it's a college thing. They just don't have the randomness that we had of meeting people, doing things anymore. It just doesn't seem to happen like it did back then. And again, I'm not busting it. It's a college thing. It was just always like, oh, hey, what's up? You just meet people and either things happen, they didn't happen, didn't matter. That was just socialization at the time.
Well,
they don't seem to have that anymore.
Like I said, could you imagine today if you're out somewhere and some old dude overhears your conversation and is like, I'll help you out.
Come here, little boy.
You'd be like, what is it? Seriously.
I know.
The parents would be like, come Come on, get away from that old. Don't pay attention to that man. He's
well, no,
crazy.
it's bigger, but then it starts with your parents took you to the racetrack.
Well,
that would. Yeah, I have no problem with it. I get it, but you know, again, where we are nowadays, I'm sure there's a fair amount of people who look horrified. You took them to a racetrack.
Well, I mean, it is Churchill Downs. It wasn't like they took me to some off the beaten path, hole in the wall. It's Churchill Downs where they had the Kentucky Derby. That was the whole thing there. Because again,
Cathedral of racing.
Yeah, they had no idea. And I mean, we walked in. And I remember my mom looking around like, this is kind of shady. Like this is not
in the corner.
This doesn't look like. Well, yeah. I mean, so like this doesn't look like it does on TV when they have because of course they dress it up and then they
Clean it up.
Because I remember every time I watched Kentucky Derby after that, I was like, I've been there. It did not look like this. It looked like, where's the sweaty guy with the collared shirt, short sleeve shirt? Crazy. Yeah, but you're right. You would just randomly meet people. However, I mean, it just happened, and yeah, some of it was hanging out in the college dorms, but you'd go down to 930 Club or something in DC, or you'd be at, some of the other places, the old Bayou before they shut it down. And you might just be hanging out and somebody would, if you're wearing, George Mason apparel, or maybe you're wearing, whatever, a team from, the NBA or baseball or whatever. So, hey, I like them. I'm a fan of them. And then all of a sudden you're in a conversation or somebody goes, oh, my cousin went to George Mason, or my cousin went to JMU or whatever it was. And then you're in a conversation. Next thing you know, you're hanging out, and that's how it went. And you didn't sit there and go, let me airdrop you my number. Let me click on that and do that. I mean,
get your Insta or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. No, I'll Snapchat you. I'm like, no, you won't. You're not doing that. And I was thinking, if you didn't have the guts to be like, hey, can I get your number? And then actually follow up and call the number, you probably weren't going to be able to stalk them on their Instagram or, whatever, TikTok or anything else like that. Well, that was the other thing and we should talk about this another time, but when you had to make the phone call to somebody's house, if they didn't have their own line, boy, you were rolling the dice. You better know how to
answer.
That's right. You better know what the conversation is that you want to have, and you better know how to be polite and ask for whoever it is that you're calling. Because if it was Dad who answered
it was Dad. I was about to say that was always the hurdle that you were sitting there going, okay, all right. And you just were waiting. Oh, is it Dad? Mom? You could get away with. Dad, you were always.
Yeah, it would ring, and you'd be like, oh, man. And if it got to like a 3 or 4 ring, you're like, oh, I probably woke somebody up, or they were outside. Like, going through all the worst case scenarios in your head of how they're going to be angry because maybe they were out, working in the garage and they heard the phone ring and they go inside. It's like, it's this D-bag that's calling my daughter and won't leave her alone. You know what I mean?
I was saying, I remember calling one, and then the father answered, who's calling?
Yeah, exactly.
Gary, how does she know you? I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. Yep. Right? Yep. Before I even talk to her, I'm already getting the 3rd degree from Dad. So I don't even know what he did, but I just remember that going, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I just met her the other day. Really? And it's that silence, and he's not saying anything, and he's kind of absorbing, and finally, hold on.
You go, we met at the meeting.
We met at the meeting. We were at the STD clinic together, and
with AA down at the church basement. They have coffee and donuts every week.
I'm just there for the donuts.
I had I did have a friend of mine, and we never dated, but her and I were really, really good friends throughout high school. And we'd have, like most teenagers would have, literally hours long conversations on the phone. Until when you got call waiting, then you were pretty much green lighted that you could stay on the phone for a while, because if you didn't, my mom was like a half hour, because if somebody's calling, you gotta, we can't tie up the phone. But I remember I would call, and if her mom answered the phone, again, this was once it was kind of established that, okay, he's an okay kid. Yeah. I would call, and if the mom answered the phone, I'd be like, hi, this is Bill. Is Amy home? And then Mom would be like, yeah, she is. But there'd be times when she would be like, So our things with you, like get into a conversation, and I talked to her mom for like 10 minutes. And then she'd hand the phone over to the daughter, and she'd be like, hello? I'm like, hey, it's Bill. And she'd be like, why were you talking to my mom for 10 minutes? She's like, I was trying to figure out who my mom's talking to about this stuff. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, your mom was nice. She's just being nice to me. And she's like, don't do that. Because again,
don't do that.
You're 12, 13, 14 years old. And, the daughter's like, ew, don't talk to my mom. What are you, nuts? So, yeah.
What choice do I have?
I could have been like, things are good. And then but I was asking, like, if I would know stuff was going on with the family, I'd be like, oh, hey, I heard, like Sparky was sick the other day. You guys had to take him to the vet. Is he doing better? It'd be stuff like that. And she'd be like, oh, yeah, thanks for asking. Sparky's fine, that kind of stuff. And that's why she was like, why are you asking my mom about the dog? And I'm like, I just make a conversation. Try to be nice. Don't yell at me. But yeah, you did. You had to take that chance. I was always good with parents, though, because most people, I felt like were not afraid of them, but like just wanted to get out of the room as quick as you could. But I felt like if you engaged them in conversation and you showed that you weren't like trying to get out of there as fast as you could, that they're going to think nothing's up. Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, this guy, he's harmless. Harmless. He sits and talks to us. I would talk to the dad, about sports or whatever, all that kind of stuff. It worked out fine. But yeah, we will have to explore that, the whole calling.
You were the guy that the father's always like, whatever happened to Bill? He was such a nice boy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I thought that's a whole other thing. But yeah, as long as you were nice, it was fine. Just don't be a jerk. Tell them who you are. That was the main thing. Tell them who you are. They'll just call up and they go, hello. And you go, yes, is Amy there? Or yeah, can I talk to Beth? Like, you got to say, hey, this is Bill or whatever. I'm calling for, whoever it is. And then they go,
the AA meeting. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I met him at the AA meeting, and they had a really good Danish recipe. I don't know, make something up. So, and then of course there's also we'll get into this, but there's also the excuses that you had to have at the ready if you didn't want to talk to somebody. Because that was the other thing. Like if they called up and your mom was like, hey, it's Sarah. Do you want to talk to her? No, I don't want to talk. And they hand you the phone. Hi. Hey, Sarah, what's going on? No, you know what? My mom just got home from the grocery store. I got to help carry stuff in. Let me call you back. And then you never call Sarah. Oh, dude, I'm not kidding. This is a whole other episode. I had a list. I did in my room. I had a list that I had taped next to my phone. And I literally would keep almost like a spreadsheet, except we didn't have spreadsheets back then. But I would put the initials of the person next to I had like 8 of them. And I would put like ST or something when I used the excuse, so I wouldn't keep using the same one. It's like, it's too hard to get caught. Because they'd be like, every time I call, you're having to bring the groceries in. That doesn't make sense. How often does your mom shop? That kind of stuff.
Wow, you're going to start your own player school.
Dude, it was brutal. It was bad. Anyway, all right, we've gone way too long.
That's fine.
But ultimately, the point of today's show was Europeans and others love America. Even if nobody else does, they love it. They love it here. We should be so happy and so proud of living here in the U.S. because everybody's having a grand old time here. It's awesome. That's where I am with it. You got any parting words for us?
America, number one.
This concludes this episode of Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhite. Gen X Men is now off the air.